Hello, I'm Jeff Hajic. I'm the owner and founder of Laction and Continuous Improvement Central. And in this video, I want to talk to you about an overview of the Countermeasure Sheet. Now, this is basically, if you kind of look at it, you may recognize the general idea behind it is similar to an A3 report, just a little bit smaller, a little bit more focused, and a little bit more detail in a structured way. A3 is pretty flexible in how you put it together, but a Countermeasure Sheet is designed for significant problems that you're doing individually or on small teams. It's a management tool, and I like to think of it as A3 Lite. But the gist of it is that, you put down the header information. You always make sure you fill out your header in any form. The group is the department or the team or whatever you want to have. The date, make sure you put the date down when you start it. Page 1 of whatever. You may have additional pages that you put together if you have more root causes and more countermeasures that you're doing. Generally, it's going to be done on one page. You can be focused on it. The target is where you are now on your numbers. When you focus on a countermeasure sheet, you want to talk about a specific metric that you're working after. So you may have several of them for different metrics, and the actual and then what the gap is. So what we're looking at here is going through the gap of this KPI improvement objective. So you put the objective here, you write up a little problem statement to kind of summarize what's going on, and then you do your numbers. You go through your root cause analysis, you write down your causes and the impact. And this is what I call impact calculus. So the idea here is when you know what your gap is, your impact of the different root causes needs to at least add up to that. And then down here, when you come up with solutions, you need to add up to that. So if the root causes don't explain more than the gap, then you have trouble. If you can't figure out the root causes about why you're missing, that's a problem. Then you go down to your countermeasures once you have your root causes identified, and you should spend a fair amount of your time making sure that you have a really accurate root cause. Put your notes down here. This is just so that when you communicate it to other people, they have a clear understanding of what you're doing. Again, this is a summary sheet. A lot of stuff will have backing documentation. You may have 5 whys forms or some other data collection that backs up that this is in fact the root cause, process flow charts, all that sort of thing. So this again is a summary sheet. You can put in your KPI image over here. You can put any supporting data you have for your root causes or for your countermeasures over here. Don't get too crazy on how much stuff you put in here. This is really, like I said, a summary sheet. So these are for the biggest issues you're facing. But the real benefit of this is now you put in a countermeasure. So this shows that when you have, if your gap is 16 whatever units and you come up with, 20 or 19 or 14 here, your target's not going to be 100%. So your impact could be bigger than the gap you're facing. If your target is 80 units and, you're at 60, you can find out you're losing more, whatever. I'm just pulling numbers out of my back of my head right here. So they may not make sense, but the principle behind it is your root cause can come up with more than your gap because your gap isn't going to be to 100%. It's going to be to your target. So with that said, when you get your countermeasures, you do need to cover this gap. So all of your impact over here, when you add it up, needs to be enough to cover the gap. And that's the first thing that you're going to look at as a manager. When you see one of these in front of you, you're going to make sure that people have a good understanding of what the root causes are, and then if these countermeasures link back to the root causes enough. And you'll find that's a big common theme about how I teach things is everything needs to link back up. So policy deployment's the same way. If you set a target, you need to make sure that you have enough understanding of what your target is that you can come up and recreate, or not recreate, but compensate for all the misses with the processes that you've identified. So with that said, that is the gist of this form. Like all of our forms, you'll see we have user's guides to help you understand how to fill it out better in more detail. So stuff I talked about here, I'll give you a lot more in-depth analysis on it and how to do it. And there's a leader's guide that goes with it to teach you how to manage your team using this form. And then we have a bunch of other supporting training. So this was part of our original lean training system. There is a countermeasures course. You can get the PowerPoint for that. And these all come in different levels of our membership. So this is the PDF version for free. You can get the editable version in most of our, our management level toolkits, or you can get it individually. But this is a tool that's a really great tool for helping you make your improvements. It's a lot easier and more accessible than A3. A3 reports tend to be a little intimidating for some people. They are pretty big and pretty intensive to manage properly. So A3 Lite, Countermeasure Sheet. That's all I got. Have a good day.